Game in the balance will take his very best effort from here. And Levi Ashcroft, that is a sensational kick.
Ball comes to ground here. Hand pass comes out to Ashcroft, who steps inside. Levi Ashcroft with some Ashcraft.
Well, we're less than a month from the national AFL draft, and the future of many aspiring AFL players will soon change. And Levi Ashcroft is a name that I think many footy followers are very familiar with, and he's been good enough to join us on the Fox Footy podcast. Thanks for joining us, Levi.
No problems. Thanks for having me.
Levi, we're at the MCG. When you look outside and you see the grandstands, does it sort of, I suppose, really kick in that your life is about to change quite significantly?
Yeah, it definitely does. I've had a lot of special memories here at the MCG, and there's been a lot of footy history that's happened here. So it's pretty cool to be at this venue and think about what could be coming in the future for me and for the Brisbane Lions.
None more special than about a month ago. What's your absolute favourite memory from Grand Final Day 2024?
Probably being able to get on the ground with Will after the game, or even actually, I'll rephrase. Probably his goal was really good in the game, but then after the game was, being able to be on the ground with him after such a special day and such a great performance by him and not only the team. So it was such a special moment for not only me and Will, but our family to all be there and witness what was such a great day.
Technically, should you have been on the ground?
Well, no. So you're only allowed one family member per player to be on the ground after the game. But I think some of the Brisbane Lions guys and some of the coaches and staff said that it'd be okay to some of the security guards and the people there. So I think they sort of knew that I was going to be coming on potentially. But I think it was okay in the end. The security guard was kind enough to let me on.
Tell me about, in particular, the being in the rooms after a premiership, because it's often quite claustrophobic, quite chaotic as well. But to be a family member of a player in the rooms, what was that experience like?
Yeah, it's not many people have been able to experience. It's very special. All those people in there, a lot of rich history with all the Brisbane Lions. A lot of past players were in there. People that my dad used to play with when he played in those 3 premierships. So really special to be able to be in there with all those people that you think you wouldn't get a lot of those people in together at the same time in any time. So to be able to be in there with all those special people and special people that are connected to the club was surreal for all of us to be able to be in there.
Did your dad keep his emotions in check?
Yeah, he did. He was a little bit emotional at the end. He didn't really let it out, but I saw when he saw Will after the game on the ground, I could see a little bit of emotion kick in. He was just so proud, and it was just again a special moment for him to be able to be on the ground that he won his first premiership in, and his 3 that he won back to back. So for Will to be able to do it after he's done it, and the next premiership after he won was one of his sons that played in. So very special for us.
So there's family out in the ground. There's listed players out in the ground that didn't get a spot in the 23. You've technically haven't joined the Lions, but there's an agreement in place, there's a contract in place. Was there a part of you that almost felt really part of this premiership?
There's a part of me that did, but I feel like I wasn't a part of it. I want to be able to create my own, be in my own premiership team one day, hopefully with some of those boys that played in this year. So in a way, yes, you do, but it's be a bit different. Being able to be in there, hopefully one day, hopefully it's this year or next year, that we could do it, and hopefully I'm in that team. So, but I did feel very special for me, because a lot of those boys that I've trained with in pre-season and have a relationship. I text a few of those guys during the year and wish them luck for a few of the games and stuff like that. So to be able to see them win it, and some of my really close mates from that team was special for me as well.
Is that also why you didn't intentionally touch the Premiership Cup in the aftermath?
Yeah, well, as I said, I wanted to be able to. I think I touched it or something, but I didn't want to grab it because I want to hopefully grab my own at some stage.
Levi, if someone hadn't seen you play before, how would you describe yourself as a player to them?
One way that comes to mind would be competitive. I want to win. That's comes down to what it is in sport. In a team sport, winning is the main goal. So, and I feel like I've sort of done that in the past 3 years I've been in junior footy. So, competitive, always trying to do everything I can for my teammates and for coaches that I really love playing for and playing with.
Does that competitiveness derive from the backyard?
Oh, definitely. Yeah. From a young age, my younger sister and Will, we used to play every single sport that you could think of in the backyard. Always testing each other and putting each other to extreme lengths, and that's definitely held us in great stead for playing professional sport now.
Footy would obviously be one of the sports you play, but what other activities in the backyard where it often got a bit tense?
It was definitely some cricket, golf, a lot of swimming even in the pool. A lot of basketball, NFL, all those stuff. So anything you could think of, I think we probably played it in the backyard.
There's a documentary done on the Hemisphere Boys a couple of years ago, and Will was part of that. And there's a lot of shots in that documentary of you throwing a gridiron with Will. Tell me about your love for the National Football League.
Yeah, we love it. It's another, with some of those sports I mentioned, it's really good to get away from just being all about footy all the time and in sport. So to be able to get away and watch some of that and be intrigued in their game that they play overseas, it's a fascinating game to watch and to be involved in. And I'm sure Will and I've brought some of the things we've learned from that game and tactical things and things that they do into how we play our footy. So I love it because it's so different to the way we play our game here. So the tactical things, the breaks in the game. Offense, defense, special teams, all that stuff that comes into play. I think it's really it's a different sport that we can include in the way we do our things in our life and our sport. Is
there one specific tactic that you can think of that you might be able to translate into footy or into your game in some capacity?
I think there's a lot of patience in NFL, a lot of waiting to see what unfolds, especially as a quarterback. You've got to be knowing what you're looking at and knowing what play is coming or knowing which defender's going to be where. So the patience and the composure to be able to deliver the ball on time or run the right route, things like that. I feel like composure and patience are two things that I feel like we really try and include in the way we play footy.
Is there an AFL player outside of your brother that you might model your game on?
I try and model my game on Lachie Neale. He's another guy I try and stay connected with, or I did try and stay connected with during this year, and he's been such a role model for me, not only on the field but off the field. When I was around the club, I learned so much off him, and same with Josh Dunkley. Those boys are just so unselfish and always so team orientated to to the cause of trying to win a premiership, which they did this year. And it shows what they do on the field, but off the field they do so much for the club and their families to be able to be successful on the field.
I can't think of any players that have won 3 Old TAC Cup, now Coates Talent League premierships in a row. So when you won your first one a couple of years ago, you did it with Will, but you were 15 years of age, and you also, in that team, had Harry Sheasel, Archie Roberts, Cam McKenzie and Riley Sanders as well. Could you look back on that flag specifically and think, what the heck just happened?
Yeah, it was a crazy team to look. If you look back at it now, some of those boys are dominating AFL level. So to be able to play with them at an under 18s level when I was only 15 was, again, an incredible moment for me in my footy career. People like, as you said, Harry Sheasel and Riley Sanders and those guys who are doing so well at AFL level and, again, so professional, so team orientated, and to be able to play alongside them at such a young age was special for me, and it developed my game and my leadership and me as a person to be able to be where I am now. And as that also held me in great stead for being a leader in my under 18 year, learning off them, learning off Will and those guys, to be able to help others that might have been my age now. So there's a few boys that played this year that were 16. I know Jack Circuit, Archie Butler, those guys who are at Brighton Grammar at Sandy, they played a couple games at the end of the year, and I brought what I learned off Will and Harry and those guys and helped them how they helped me.
How'd the number 75 go that day?
With me?
Yeah, how'd you go? You wore the number 75
yeah, I did.
that day?
It's a bit of a weird thing. At Sandy, I think, because I wasn't in the squad at the start of the year, I was playing under 16s for Sandy. They give one of the younger boys number 75. So I know I wore 75, Jack Dalton wore 75, and Jack Circuit wore 75. So, hopefully they can do... hopefully win some premierships in the next few years like I did.
You mentioned leadership, and you also mentioned the willingness to try and help younger players coming through, which when I spoke to Will 2 years ago, that was a big thing for him as well. Can you sort of expand a little bit on leadership and how you've tried to work on your leadership this year?
I feel like I've always been a very good leader on the field and through action and that sort of stuff, but I've developed through with people like Rob Harding, who's the coach of Sandy Dragons and has been the coach for the last 2 years, and Wayne Cripps in my first year. Those guys have helped me develop, my implementing my knowledge and the things that I have from the game, and being able to see the game the way I see it, and to be able to help others see that and try and show them the way that I can, help them develop their games and see the game better. So to be able to, if I helped a few of those younger boys in little ways with a 1 minute conversation or during the game, going up to them and helping them at some stage, I'd be very proud of that, and hopefully they can bring that into the next people that they might be helping at a younger age and when they're getting older in the program.
Who have been some of the biggest influences in your footy journey so far?
Oh, definitely Will and Dad have been, the two main ones. Obviously, Dad did so well in his career, and he knows so much with the game. I've developed so many things of what he's told me over my journey, and then Will again, professional, knows so much about the game. I implement all those things that they have taught me over the 10-year journey I've been playing football into every game that I play or every training session that I do to be able to better myself.
So I've heard you talk about your dad's achievements as a Brisbane Lion player, and you described him as an unsung hero. You're obviously born 3 years after his final premiership. How much have you intentionally gone and learnt about what he achieved, watched what he achieved?
Yeah, I'm so proud of what he did. As you said, he is a bit of an unsung hero in that team with some of those players that were all Australians, Brownlow medalists, all that sort of stuff. And you go back. I also go back to when he was sort of one of them. He was the main midfielder there for a while with the Bears and the Lions at the start of their tenure as a Brisbane Lion. So, as I say, unsung hero in those premiership years. But those years before, he helped develop the club and the Bears and to bring them up into finals contention. I know the Bears sort of in their last sort of few years, they were up, in finals, and they hadn't been there for quite a while. So he helped do that with his play and his leadership and that sort of stuff. So, it's pretty cool to go back and see what he did as a player. Because, obviously, as you said, I was born 3 years after, and I didn't get to see any of it in live. So to be able to go back and look at what he did was special.
So has he given you tips? If he was the main midfielder back in the day, has he given you tips on how to handle a tag?
Yeah, definitely. He's told me a few stories back in the old days of when he used to be tagged, and he actually did a few tagging roles when he was younger. So he learnt what he was being told from when he was tagging to when he started to get tagged, when he got older. So, yeah, definitely there was a few different things that they used to do to him when he was getting tagged, like, things like stepping on his feet, pinching and all that sort of stuff that they don't do now. So I used to look back and go, wow, it's not easy to be able to play footy when people are doing that to you. It definitely gave me plenty of things to do, like, keeping on the move at stoppage, always running around trying to make your tagger work with you. Because usually, some of the taggers you're playing against probably don't have the running capacity that you might have. So just being able to stay on the move as much as you can, and then that's where you get free kicks from that and stuff like that, because you're always moving. You can see the jumper pull and things like that.
So how old were you when you moved from Queensland to Victoria?
I would have been 12.
Okay, so you did a little bit of your schooling sort of in Queensland as. During that time, though, how nice was it to sort of be? How much did you appreciate being outside the footy bubble, I suppose, during those first few years of your life? Yeah,
it was a bit different. I was only in primary school at that stage, so I wasn't, touted as a high pick or a talent as of yet. So, I just wanted to keep my head down and work in those first few years that I came to Victoria, and I sort of always had that work ethic to try and be an AFL player from such a young age, and as it was a dream for such a long time when I was living in Queensland. So when I came to Melbourne, it was a big, the big bubble, so much football, so many things that you can be doing, so many more things you can be doing here than there was in Queensland. So it was a bit of a different period of my life where I was like, wow, this, it's getting serious now that you got to, start taking advantage of what you have here.
So, and Will probably had those extra couple of years where he, again, might not be right there, but in the pick one conversation, but maybe he was a bit more on the radar than what you would have been as well?
He was so he was playing. I'm trying to think. I think it was under 15s or 16s for Queensland.
Yep.
And yeah, he was. He won. Pretty sure he would have won the BNF and stuff like that. So yeah, he had that extra pressure coming into the Melbourne bubble, where it can be quite daunting for a player like for his talent. So he did so well in what he did in those 3 years that he was here, and hopefully he can continue what he's doing.
So 2 years ago, I interviewed Will Levi, and he said this: I always say Levi's done everything I've done up until the 16th year, so he's well on his way. And if he continues to build on his professionalism, trains hard, and keeps growing as a player and a person, he'll definitely have a very long, successful AFL career. Do you believe that? Do you believe that you've been able to build on that professionalism, that training standard in these past 2 years?
Yeah, definitely do. And he's been a driver of that for me. He's, my biggest supporter, but someone that, is really hard on me and really wants to push me to be the best I can, because he knows what I can do. And he believes in me as a person and a player. So, yeah, as he said, I've been, trying to develop those things as much as I can. And I feel like I've definitely taken a few steps in the right direction. So
he said that you'd been trying to replicate his burst of speed.
Yep.
And then Will said that he'd been trying to replicate your tackling and pressure. Do you reckon that's fair?
I think so, and I think he did really well, especially in the grand final. A few of those end games with that, ferociousness on defence, as well as his burst of speed and attack on offence that he has, and that he probably stands out from a lot of players that he's playing against. So, hopefully we can keep developing that over our careers, and hopefully by the end we're doing so well in those areas.
You describe him as your best mate. What's it been like the last couple of years with living in different states?
Yeah, it's tough as a word that comes to mind, but eye-opening for both of us to be able to work our way through my last few years of school, his first few years of being an AFL player. So becoming young men and to be able to be more independent ourselves, and Will's been away from our parents and our family up there, and I definitely think he's grown as a person to help him be a better player at the Brisbane Lions and a better teammate being away from home.
What did you learn from what he went through during his ACL rehabilitation?
Yeah, lots of things. I mean, it was not only tough on him, but tough on the family and me. It was a very tough period for our family and for Will, because most of his life at the moment is football, and when he was kept away from that and being on the field, it was really tough for him. And seeing the Lions go so well, it was really hard, because he really wanted to be a part of that, and he felt a part of that team. Just resilience and perseverance to be able to work through and continue to be a great teammate even when you're not playing on the field. And a few of those boys this year, like Link McCarthy, Tom Duday, Darcy Gardner, all those guys that Kitty Coleman, all done ACLs, all should have been a part of this team, but kept being resilient and trying to be that great teammate off the field and trying to help as much as you can to be a good person for the club. And that's, again, it contributed to what the Brisbane Lions could do on the field.
So he supported Geelong as a kid. Who did you support?
We both, he was Geelong and Suns when Dad was at the Suns, and I was sort of Suns, and then when Dad left the Suns, I sort of started supporting North Melbourne.
Right.
Yeah, so through that, it was a couple of years period, because Dad's best mates with Brad, both the Scott brothers. So I went with Brad, and then Will, again, Dad's best mates with Nigel Lapp. One of his best mates was Nigel Lapp, who was at the Cats, and then Chris was at the Cats as well. So he sort of wanted to support them for them.
Have you watched most North games, or is it more of a casual sort of support from the
side?
No,
I did. I remember, I can't remember which year, maybe 16 or something like that. They played Essendon in the elimination final, was it?
2014.
2014.
Yep.
That was. I remember I was in the lounge room with Mum, and we were cheering really loud, and it was a good time. I think was it Drew Petrie?
Yeah.
Drew Petrie kicked the goal, so that I do remember that. So there you go.
Are you going to live with Will in Queensland?
Yes, I think so. We're still working out a few things with, who might be getting drafted with me to the Lions. A few things that the Lions do. I know one of the docs have a little outhouse at his house that some of the draftees usually live in for the first sort of couple months or first few weeks of pre-season. So we're just still working out with the club what's going to be going on.
One of the players that might come with you is Sam Marshall, who you've played with at Sandringham in particular, and was best on ground in the grand final this year. Tell me about Sam and your relationship and what he will bring, hopefully, to the Brisbane Lions.
Yeah, Sam played so well this year at the end of the year. Yeah, very chuffed for him for what he's been able to do for his career and to set him up to coming hopefully to the Brisbane Lions with myself. So, I was really proud of what he did in the grand final because he's sort of flown under the radar a little bit, quiet kid. But yeah, he did so well. Great runner, that's what comes to mind. I remember last year in pre-season, he was doing pre-season with us at the Lions as well, and he was up the front in the running before and after trainings with Hugh McCluggage and Harry Sharp and those guys, and I was thinking, wow, he's going to be a star if he can continue to do that. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to hopefully joining him at the Lions next year.
So you mentioned talked about being in the rooms with after the premiership this year. How familiar are you with the Lions football program? You've played VFL football, you've done training during summer. I heard you in another interview talking about how you're familiar with their kick and catch style game plan. Do you feel like you're ready to sort of hit the ground running because you are familiar with what the program's all about and set up? Yeah,
definitely. I had the last sort of 2 pre-seasons at the Lions, which was a bit of a head start for me, and Sam did the same. So, to be able to be involved with those players and those coaches and learn the system, even when you're not there yet, was a real bonus for me. And as you said, hopefully hit the ground running, knowing exactly what I'm doing coming into pre-season, and hopefully impress the coaches and staff with knowledge that I might have of the game plan and how they want to play. So, yeah, hopefully I can do that next year.
So one of your football heroes is Lachie Neale, your best mates, your brother Will Ashcroft, you're close with Josh Dunkley. Have you thought about the prospect of lining up in the same centre bounce brigade as those guys at AFL level?
Yeah, it's pretty special to be able to line up with some of those all Australians and premiership players and Brownlow medalists as Lachie Neale is. So it'd be really surreal for me to be able to line up with them and pull on the Brisbane Lions Guernsey alongside those guys. And I mean, I did it in pre-season. You're lining up against in a little centre bounce practice match with Lachie Neale and Josh Dunkley, Hugh McCluggage, those guys, and you think, well, how am I here right now? So to be able to do that maybe on the Gabba or the MCG or something like that would be a crazy moment for me.
You still got a draft to obviously go through, but do you want to play round 1 next year?
Definitely, yeah, that's definitely going to be a goal of mine. And hopefully I can impress the guys, the players and the coaches as early as I can, and just put my head down and earn the respect of those guys as soon as I can. And if that's round 1, that's round 1. If it's down the track, that's what it is. So hopefully I can just put my best foot forward and give 100% to what we're doing at the Brisbane Lions.
All right, Levi, a couple of generic ones to finish off. I know you've said you want to go pick one, but if you had pick one in the draft this year, which player would you select with the opening pick?
It's a very good question. Very open at the moment. I'm hearing lots of different reports on who Richmond may want.
You got the inside word, do you?
No, I don't know. I'm just in media and stuff that. It's very interesting to see who they think, but I'd probably say Jagger.
Yep.
He's been a good mate of mine for such a long time. We played. I remember first playing with him in the under-15s Vic team. Playing with him throughout Vic Metro the last few years, and played against him at Oakley and school level. So he's been a great player, and I've been admired what he's been able to do on the field the last few years.
He's been compared to, and also models his game on, Zack Butts a bit. Yep. Can you see those comparisons?
Yeah, definitely. Both great ball winners inside. He's got a really good kick on the outside. He's been really impressive, and we've been really good to play with each other and a bit like for like to feed off each other and hurt some defences over the national carnivals.
It could be a long first round this year with bids and academies and all that stuff. Is there maybe a player that if you had a first round pick, you'd be prepared to have a first round pick on? So a bit of a bolter, I suppose, for want of a better term.
I wouldn't say bolter, but one of my best mates, Harrison Oliver,
played
school footy, Sandy and Vic Metro with. I think he's just so team orientated, unselfish, and he just puts his body on the line for any team that he plays for. So I think any club would be lucky to have him.
Just one on the club interview process, and you probably might not have spoken to as many clubs as what someone like an Alex Tarou might have done during the speed dating at the draft combine and speak to 17 of the 18 clubs. But what's that process been like for you this year?
Yeah, it's been interesting. A lot of the clubs expected that I was going to be nominating in early periods where we did a lot of that speed dating sort of type interviews at early stages in the Vic Metro hubs and that sort of stuff. So been interesting. They all sort of asked similar questions to what other players would have, but they all sort of expected me to make the choice to be with Brisbane, but obviously I have to go through the process as everyone else does. Was there one question that made you pause for 10 seconds or was a little curly that caught you off guard? Not really. I can't really remember them as much, but I've heard a few different and some weird questions that a few of the other boys have told me. So it's very interesting to hear some of the things that clubs are asking. Yeah, Jagger told me a couple of weeks ago that he was asked if Dustin Martin got out of the sauna 5 minutes early, what would you say? I wouldn't know what to say to that. you just shake your head and be like, I'm not sure. Jagger said, I'll earn my spot before telling him what to do. Yeah, that's fair enough. Last one, Levi. How ready are you physically and mentally to be a full-time professional AFL footballer? I think I'm ready as I can be. I've been waiting for this opportunity to be able to be in an AFL club for such a long time and dreaming about the prospect of being able to play for an AFL team. So I feel like I'm very ready to be able to step out there and put my best foot forward for the Brisbane Lions. You're well set up, mate. All the very best. Thanks very much. Appreciate it.